Make sure you subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button. And to never miss another lecture from Miracle, hit the bell icon to get regular updates on English literature.
Hello and welcome to Miracle English Language and Literature Institute. I'm Professor Abha Sharma, and today I'm going to take up PROSPICE, Robert Browning's very inspiring poem. Robert Browning, as you know, that he belonged to the Victorian era and was the only optimistic poet of that era. He was a contemporary of Tennyson and is known for his intellectual vigor and psychology. He was very much influenced by the Renaissance movement of Italy. He was a great poet, wrote many poems, and usually written in dramatic monologues. So, for poetry that has a formal beauty, that is sensuous, musical, and melodious, is the poetry of Browning. PROSPICE was first published in Dramatist Persona and is a tribute to the memory of Browning's wife, Elizabeth Barrett Browning. So, this poem is known as one of the most inspiring and original poem on the subject of death. Prospice is a Latin word. It means to look forward, that is, to look forward to death. The poet expresses his determination to face death. He looks forward to see his wife again. So he wants to reach the kingdom of God where peace and joy will greet him. He will meet his wife and live in eternal peace and happiness. So let's begin the poem. Fear death? To feel the fog in my throat, the mist in my face, when the snows begin and the blast denote I am nearing the place. The power of the night, the press of the storm, the post of the foe. Where he stands, the arch fear in a visible form. Yet the strong man must go. For the journey is done and the summit attained, and the barriers fall. Though a battle to fight ere the guerdon be gained, the reward of it all. I was ever a fighter, so one fight more, the best and the last. The poem Prospice starts abruptly, and the poet here is welcoming death. He's not showing any kind of fear, and instead he's happy about it and wants to experience the moments of death. The first line, fear death, is in the interrogative form, and the rest of the poem is an answer to the first line. The poet has set out to face death bravely and fearlessly. So in these lines, the poet is narrating his experience which he will go through before dying. When death approaches a man, he feels suffocated. That means he feels suffocation in the throat, and the breathing becomes just impossible. He's unable to breathe properly. The body starts sweating and shivering as if it is nearing death. That means it is nearing death. The whole atmosphere is affected and it becomes stormy and indicates the approach of death. So, when a man faces death, everything in front of him becomes gloomy and dark. The breathing becomes difficult, and the enemy, that is death, tries to overpower man. It seems that death has changed and taken a concrete shape. Some figure is approaching and is seen standing in front of the dying man. The dying man can recognize his nearing moments, towards death. He can anticipate death. It is the last phase of life which is quite dreadful. So even the strongest man cannot win death, but can fight it till the end, till his last breath, but has to surrender in the end. The poet is being optimistic about death. He calls death a summit which the man was trying to attain from the time he came in this world. The journey of life completes when man meets death. The poet says when a person dies, he becomes free from all the worldly responsibilities. All his difficulties end here and he attains eternity. The death here is considered as an enemy who fights with man and defeats him. In this way, a man gets a lifetime award by facing death. I would hate that death bandaged my eyes and forebore and made me creep past. No, let me taste the whole of it, fare like my peers. The heroes of old bear the brunt in a minute, pay glad life's areas of pain, darkness, and cold. For sudden the worst turns the best to the brave. The black minutes at end, and the elements rage. The fierce voices that rave shall dwindle, shall blend, shall change, shall become first a peace out of pain, then a light, then thy breast. O thou soul of my soul, I shall clasp thee again, and with God be the rest. Very beautiful lines. The poet calls himself a fighter, a struggler, and considers this as his last fight. He regards it as a challenge to him and wants to enjoy every moment of it. Therefore, this fight proves the best of all as he attains eternity. He would never like to die painlessly or suddenly. He badly wants to experience the painful moments which will carry him near to death. Like the heroes of the past, he wants to fight bravely because he considers death as his equal opponent, his enemy. He will tolerate the full fury, stress of death, and just in a minute, the whole life's deeds, good or bad, are seen in front of him. All the sufferings, pains, struggles are now leading him to death. Coward's death is not appreciated by him. So, and also the sudden death, one cannot enjoy the moments. When a person dies in the atmosphere, lots of horrifying voices are heard. The death tries all means to overcome life. It gives lots of pain to the human body. And after a long struggle, the body attains peace. And all the pains and sufferings, they end. So in the last lines, the poet remembers his dead wife. After his death, his soul will unite to the soul of his wife and will remain clasped together forever with God, in the presence of God. So this poem is a bit of sentimental in the end when he says that he will unite with his wife after his death. So this is an address to his wife who died in 1861 and whom the poet loved very much. So this poem is dedicated to her. The theme, of course, is same, devotion to his wife, because he was greatly devoted, loved her too much, and wishes to see her again after his death. So he is determined to see his beloved. He is willing to face death. He wishes to face death bravely. And he draws similarity between death with the experience of climbing up a lofty mountain. A mountain climber has to face fog, mist, show, storms, etc. Like the climber, a man has to face physical and spiritual suffering when he approaches death. So, to face death is the final battle of a man in this world. So, he calls this fight the best fight and battles bravely because he wants to get the full reward. So he has been a fighter throughout his life. So he's determined to fight with death also. He does not seek for any mercy, even from death. So he's a brave man, he's an optimistic man, and he loves his wife too much. Therefore, he thinks that his wife is waiting for him in the heaven. The language of the poem is very simple, but moving. It moves us towards the feeling of kindness, sensuousness. You feel pathetic also, because when you see that he wants to get united, he's missing his wife a lot. Even the philosophy can be seen in the statement of the poet when he says that he will face his wife in the kingdom of God. And very moving lines, the end ones. O thy soul, my soul, I shall clasp thee again, and with God be the rest. It's a monologue in which the poet is speaking in his own person. The style is simple, and there is no obscurity because it is easily comprehensible. The imagery is very good. The scene of death is well narrated when a person is dying and facing all the wrath introduced by death. Then there's an imagery of a knight in search of a guerdon, a reward, and the enemy standing behind the arch. The enemy may not choose to fight, but the poet is choosing to fight. He doesn't want to gain death painlessly. So he wants to fight and gives various metaphors through which he explains his meeting with death. Poem is of 28 lines, and you can find the rhyme scheme also. And there are no stanzas as such in this poem, and it gives you the glimpse of poet's determination and optimistic views. Of course, love, dedication towards one's wife, and the faith in God. I hope you must have liked this video and must have understood it. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Till my next poem, take care. Bye-bye.